Along with your time in the state Senate, you do have a background in commerce and trade. Where can Kansas improve on those fronts, and what would you bring to the table as governor?
Well, I appreciate you having me here. This is one of the most important issues. I think it's a unique skill set that I bring as governor that is critically important in a way that it never has been before. You alluded to it. I was chief of staff of the International Trade Administration at the U.S. Department of Commerce, one of the largest bureaus there, 2,200 employees, folks in 78 countries around the world. And we really need a governor who understands market access, who understands trade, who understands economic development. That's my background, because with ag being the largest sector of our state's economy, our farmers are hurting right now because of the tariffs. What I promised them is that I will personally, as governor, lead as many trade missions as it takes to open up the markets that they need to be able to sell what they produce. And we need a governor who understands what that looks like, and I have the skill set and background to do that effectively and to be an advocate for our ag economy. I want to have a growing ag sector.
You talk about communication, right, and building bridges. You're a Democrat in the state legislature that is run supermajority by Republicans. How has that relationship worked for you in the Senate with that supermajority? And when have you been able to reach across the aisle and affect change, for that matter? Because as governor, that's something you likely would have to do.
Yeah, well, I think it's one of the reasons that Governor Kelly has endorsed me and is supporting me in this race is I think she sees in me and us having worked together somebody who can work across the aisle to bring Kansans together to move the state forward. In the state Senate, I've been a very effective state senator because I've been able to develop those relationships. I worked with the Republican chair of the Senate Transportation Committee to pass a significant worker safety bill to make our workers safer. I worked with one of the most conservative state senators in the Kansas Senate over multiple legislative sessions to pass a bill eliminating the state sales tax for our 100% disabled veterans to be able to thank them for their service. So I have a record of working across the aisle to build the kind of coalitions that we need if we're going to tackle the big challenges facing our state. You mentioned the governor's endorsement. How much of your campaign is a promise to continue her agenda and her approach? How would a Corson administration be different? Look, I think, one of the ways it will be different is I'll be the youngest Democratic governor in the country next year. I bring a new generation of leadership to the state of Kansas. I think Kansans are ready for a fresh generation of leadership that really understands the modern challenges facing Kansas families. Renee Duxler, who's my lieutenant governor, is also my age. She and I will be one of the youngest governor, lieutenant governor teams in the country. And I think it's really important that we have people in leadership that understand the challenges that families are facing today, which are the same ones my family's going through, whether it's the cost of childcare, repaying student loans, trying to buy your first house while you were still paying a mortgage and car payments. Those are all things that are personal to us. I'm a product of Kansas Public Schools. I now have a son in the same public school district that I went to. So we understand what Kansas families are facing in a way that is different from anybody else running. And I think that perspective is really important if we're going to tackle those challenges. You mentioned many subjects that are under the umbrella of affordability, major issue right now. How would you work to improve the quality of life for Kansans, or at least get them to maintain their quality of life right now, with everything getting more expensive? Absolutely. So I'm really proud of this. I'm the only Democratic candidate that's put forward a concrete plan of how we make Kansas more affordable. It is called My Working Families Agenda. And we released this in January, and it lays out the concrete steps that we need to take, because my goal as governor is to make Kansas the most affordable state in the country for families to have a middle-class quality of life. So specifically what some of that means is raising the minimum wage. It means eliminating taxes on tips and overtime so our hardest workers keep more money in their pockets. It means enacting a child tax credit for those young families so they can grapple with things like the cost of childcare and everything that comes with having a new family. It means lowering property taxes for everybody, freezing them for seniors, bringing back a tax rebate for renters, creating a $250 vehicle registration tax rebate. And it means long-term, we need to have a task force to come together to look at what other states are doing on property taxes and come up with a long-term durable solution that fixes this property tax issue once and for all.